Okay. So we're running a little late. It's already 10 past 6. So yeah, today we're addressing P.Diddy'S half-assed apology, simply because he came out with an apology just barely 24 hours, barely, yeah, barely, after the just a second, just after that the assault video went up. And that apology, I think, is the worst thing in the history of apologies that has ever happened. Now, just prior, okay, this is somebody that just told us some weeks back, okay, he told us some weeks back that he was being framed, or what was that language he used again? That there were lies and stories being told about him that were not true. I want to read it out. So he says, for the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of these awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth. Hey, God. Now, this is what he told us just a few weeks back. And then today, he sits in front of us with a teleprompter in front of him and talking about how he takes responsibility and how he was in a dark place, Ogun Kiyudi and dark place, and how he was, what do they call it again? Very, very stupid. Again, just like I said in my previous video, the fact that this was happening, right? And the Yeye Britis that are in that circle, they knew. I mean, there is nothing anybody can tell me. They all knew. And they looked away. Shame on all of you. Shame on all of you. Shame. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. Because in the midst of all your $20,000 dresses and all your $1 million endorsements and all what have you, all of y'all's moral compass is zero. So shame on all of you, as in like shame. All of you knew, because you see, in the world of celebrity, because I can't be even using waiting. In the world of celebrity, it's a clique. There are cliques that move together. And so they all, by virtue of gossip, know what they all do. And that is why there are things that, you who's on the outside can never hear unless someone who's on the inside speaks out. Sometimes, I mean, as a Nigerian, I remember where sometimes when I have, wondered how, a certain Nigerian celebrity had, such and such and such, or how this was kept under wraps. It's because the people that they in their circle are just the people who know. And so the people in his circle are the one they knew. They very well knew, but because they are partakers, and for maybe whatever reason, because they do not want to maybe fall out, I don't know, because it makes absolutely no sense that this was just in 2016. Oh. And it's quite painful. Like I said in my community post, women, Black women, and women of color remain an endangered species in the world we live in. Because please, someone should help me, make this make sense. Why or how it is okay, for a Black woman to go through that, but when a white woman goes through it, hey, fire and brimstone comes down. I heard Lionel say, yes, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, that you know, if it was J Lo, that P Diddy would have been arrested. And shame on the on California. I'll be waiting that they call. I don't know what they call. Whether it's the district. I'll be waiting. Shame on him for coming out with a statement claiming that, according to them, alleged video. What is alleged about that video? It is him. There is no alleging again. Efulefu has come out and told the whole world that, oh, it's me. I have no excuse. Please. He is looking for his people that will forgive him. The only reason he's supposed to be sorry is because he got caught. He's sorry he got caught. He's not sorry that that he did it. And the statement says, we are aware of the video that has been circulating online, allegedly. This word allegedly, God, depicting Sean Combs assaulting a young woman. Say her name, not a young woman. Cassie Ventura. Say her name. In Los Angeles. We find the images extremely disturbing and difficult to watch. If the conduct depicted occurred in 2016, unfortunately, we would be unable to charge, as the conduct would have occurred beyond the timeline where a crime of assault can be prosecuted. As of today, law enforcement has not presented a case related to the attack depicted to the video against Mr. Combs, but we encourage anyone who has been a victim or witness to a crime to report it to law enforcement or reach out to our office for support from our Bureau of Victim Services. Okay. You people have spoken. You see, this statement, what happens when we hear statements like this is that many other victims will keep quiet. They will not come out. Many other victims will be forced to stay as victims without anyone hearing their own side of the story. That's just what is going to happen. This is just what is going to, this is just what it's going to be. I learned that this tape was gotten from the raid. If you haven't watched the video, I did the video. It was gotten from the raid that happened in his home, and that was where the tape was. And then prior to that, Paris Hilton also said that P. Diddy, allegedly, I'm using allegedly because I don't know, but Paris did not. But I'm going to be very careful here as well. So Paris said that Diddy paid the hotel $50,000 to confiscate that video. And if the hotel is in on it, because this was on the hotel, at the hotel lobby. And for the hotel, they sold their soul. Because, somebody should help me understand. If Cassie had been unalived, if anything damaging had happened to Cassie, is the hotel going to also help to, hide the situation? Because you are an accessory. Okay? And so for me, the LADA's office giving this statement, in my opinion, is a half-assed statement, because come on, the hotel in itself is an accessory, and then P. Diddy is the criminal, and then one person. Come on now, come on. So giving this statement, putting out this statement, is dead on. It's wrong. How do victims get redress? How are victims able to trust the justice system when there is a cap? When we put a cap on issues like this, how do victims? It's just like rape victims. It's just like victims of, domestic, again, just like victims of sexual assault and co. When you put a cap on this, because again, it's like you're telling them well, if you're not healed by this time, that's it. You can't tell anyone, you cannot be the judge, jury, and executor on the period when someone heals. Some people are never able to talk about what happens to them until, I mean, look at Cassie. Cassie only spoke in 2024. But she'd been living this hell for longer than 2024, more than 10 years. And so putting a lid on crime, especially crimes of this nature, of sexual assault, harassment, sex trafficking, putting a cap on them, you are invariably telling the victim you don't care. You are telling the victims not to trust the justice system. That's what you're telling the victims. Because with this, I'm sure Diddy is not the only one. Kat said, 2024, everything is going up. Kat is a prophet. He speak it, it happened. He said 2024, 2024, like Odumeje, 2024. He said everything will be released, and is releasing. Everywhere the release is happening. It's really a terrible. This man is not fit for society. And you see, one of the things I really, really worry about the society we live in today is the fact that money, the moment you're able to flaunt wealth, every sin is forgiven, both human and inhuman. And then what do you expect poor people to do? Because if it's only the wealthy and the rich that are absolved of crime, and then you realize that it is the poor that should serve time for the rich, for God's sakes, what are we doing? The only thing that the justice system, we recognize that it does, is let us speak scapegoats. So any rich person that is in jail is just a scapegoat, from Jeffrey Epstein to the other one that's I don't know whether I say the leg is beating him. What's that his name again? That former guy, Oprah's man friend. To Oprah, to what's it called? To R. Kelly, and who else again? They just need scapegoats. They don't need all of them. So they just pick the weak links that they can, pick apart. R. Kelly's weak link, they just got it and then moved in. With the same with Jeffrey Epstein was the weak link in the whole thing. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was the weakest link in the whole mathematics. And why was Jeffrey the weakest link? Because again, Jeffrey was seemingly nobody compared to these guys. He was their go-to guy. He was the guy who prepared everything. And then he also made himself vulnerable by having visits from certain characters. So you realize that the category of wealthy people who are in jail are just scapegoats that they can actually dispose of very quickly. And then my question again is, what happens to those who seek redress, who have actually been wronged? And I'm not hating lawyers. I mean, you guys are doing your job. But then at what point does a citizen get justice? At what point does a victim actually get justice if you put a cap on it? Because listen, P. Diddy is not the only one. He's not. There are so many. This is the one that they want us to, Now let's go to the fact that P. Diddy, is he or is he not going to jail? Listen, that jail has to happen. His reputation, for me, opinion-wise, his reputation has not been bashed enough. Nah. Because what's his name? Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar was brutal. Let me see if I can find what Dr. Umar said. Dr. Umar came out with a statement. That statement was rough. He said something around P. Diddy. Okay, yeah, I've seen the statements. You guys just listen. Dr. Umar was rough. He said, Dr. Umar Johnson, and I quote, "I'm not going to give this too much energy as we have far more important issues to address than what happened 10 years ago. However, this isn't the end for Diddy. TDE, Jakes, will help him set up his own mega church. He will be saved and baptized and will probably make more money as a pope as a pulpit PIMP than he ever has as a mogul. Puffy will rise from the ashes." Born again, hashtag born again. Dr. Omar was brutal. I saw this, I was like, oh my God. I was actually thinking he was going to say something different, but when I saw what he wrote, I'm like, okay. I mean, you have to give it to Black people. We are poets. We know how to get around stuff, you know. And you see, this is the thing. So, I mean, let's go back, going back to what I started the story with, and I'll say, when does he, at what point is jail coming? Because listen, this jail has to happen. I mean, R. Kelly cannot be the underdog here now. No, it's not possible. He cannot be the only underdog. And it is quite amazing, like I said, how, you know, our dear old Oprah, we don't know where she's dangling now, whether it's left or is white or black. We don't know, you know, because I would have said, this one that she's quiet. Again, why am I saying this? Because we all saw what happened with R. Kelly. We all saw the way she started the investigation. She did this one. She was the one. Then if you go back to MJ. Now, again, I can't even stress enough the fact that MJ was this woman's friend. And then, boom, MJ dies. Bam, she starts. So, again, why is she not carrying this one on her brain? You see, when you all this selective, oh God, this selective, you just, again, that gatekeeping and that gatekeeper that you are. Because the time for you to react, the time for you to actually do what you have to do, you're not doing it. So when is P. Diddy going to jail? Because it's important that he has to enter the four walls of that prison. He has to. It cannot be business as usual. All these other people, all these other victims who have come up, both men, and it is quite sad because even in the industry, those of the victims in the industry are so few and far between. And isn't it weird as well that those who get to speak up against the industry, even I'm not going to lie, even me, when those who speak against the industry, sometimes I'm always like, hey, God, you know, are you sure these people are not lying? I'm not lying. I'm not. This is me being, and you hear. I listened to Terrence Howard today. I listened to a lot of these people, and they speak with a lot of fervor and they speak with a lot of emotion. You realize that they are quite upset about what has happened to them or what is happening, and at the end of the day, you start questioning. You yourself, you're even questioning, are you sure they are okay? And we have to start questioning this reaction that we have on we get automatically from our brothers and sisters who are saying the truth. We need to start questioning, why are we reacting this way? Why are we so quick to assume that probably they've gone loco, or that they may be on something, or that they are lying? Why are we where did this impression? come up. Again, a lot of things. I just want to go back a little bit to what Cat Williams, Cat Williams' podcast. He said so many things. And I'm asking, is it because it's Cat Williams that said it that we now believe that it's true? But these are the things that have been said. And because of the stand Cat Williams took, I feel like Cat Williams did what he did to make us understand that these people that are crying out for help, these people that are saying what they are saying, they are not mad. That they are actually sane, that they are actually, going through stuff. This happened with Monique. It has happened with Terrence. It has happened with, oh my God, I'm trying to remember their names. And it's just this process of, I'm asking myself, are we being brainwashed without knowing that we're being brainwashed? Because why do we automatically assume that our brothers or our sisters who speak and are speaking up are not okay here, or they are lying? How is it possible that these people have formed an impression that makes us believe? Because again, the way P. Diddy went about this, if not, and I say this to say that, like I said in the previous video I put out, if you haven't watched it, go watch that video. I said the whole world knew that something was up with Cassie. We all knew, we all felt it, but we could not say exactly what. We all knew, we all felt it, but we could not say exactly what. And I feel like it is because we all knew and it's because we all felt it. That is the reason why we believed Cassie, despite the fact that there were a lot of people who also did not believe her. I've talked about if they call Stevie J. I've also talked, there are so many of them. Even one that calls himself something sticky. I've been waiting. I don't know what to say his name. Said that, until he saw the video. Why should that happen? Yes, I understand innocent until proven guilty, but we have antecedents here that depict clearly that this person is not okay. That he is good with taking away people's will. He's good with, sexual assault. He's good with things that he's good with toxic relationships. He is good with it. That is his MO. Talking about being in a dark place. Let me ask, who doesn't go into a dark place? Who has not had that dark place in their lives? Who has not had that dark place in their lives that you have told yourself, I am not okay? But I don't know how many people that went into dark places that decided that they needed to use other people as punching bags and sex slaves and what have you, and manipulation. I don't know how many people like that. I'm also going to insert the story of Shine. I have a video on that which is coming up very soon. So look out for that. Because again, in the interest of one man, Shine had to go down. Just in the interest of one man. Because it was his record label, because it was this, it was that, it was that. For one person. You were not obliged to, but maybe for a lot of reasons, you signed your record deal, blah, 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 blah. Let's go back to Tupac. Because even my husband, I remember when I first met my husband, it was something he kept. My husband was like, that this guy's hand is inside. I'm like, how? My husband is my husband is kind of person that when you talk about critical thinking skills, he has it. And I could not see because I was like, wow, My husband was like, My husband was the first person that said, he said, haven't you ever bothered? He was the first person that told me, said, haven't you ever wondered how the death of Tupac became the resurrection of P. Diddy? And then boom, we hear, I think there is a I was able to put two and two together from the documentary with Dr. Dre, the Defiant Ones. I was able to put two and two together. Nothing, a lot was not said, but a lot was said. And I was able to put two and two together from that documentary. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. The Defiant Ones is on Netflix. And and you realize very quickly, how is he? He's the one that cries the most. He cried the most when Tupac was unalived. He cried the most when Kim passed. He cried the most in all of this. Even when Cassie, after Cassie left him, he cried the most. You need to start questioning some of these tears. And again, like I said, I was talking about Shine, because of one person. My question is, what does he have on you? And when I say what does he have on you, I don't mean that you as the person, because again, if Shine did something really terrible, I'm sure he would not even be he won't even be a politician in the lead. So, what I mean is, when I say what does he have on you, is there is something of yours that he has to have had in his hand. And a lot of these artists have talked about their masters and maybe some other things. There must be something of yours he has, that he is able to put all these people on a leash. And that is criminal. P. Diddy was the person, or is the person, that, again, I've said this before, I'm a very perceptive person. I don't need to be close to someone, but just to hear you, watch your body language, see you speak, I can decipher one or two, three things. He's that person that I have always looked at and said, if I were ever going to be in proximity with this person, I will never make him a close friend. I would never be close to him. Because behind this person is a deadly mask. Behind, I don't know if there are people that see or are able to, and who notice that thing, but behind that facade, he wears a mask. The real person underneath is deadly, has no conscience, and is vile. And so he's able to cover it up very easily, like I said, because of the circles he runs around. There's a circle that he runs with and he runs around, and that circle kind of is his protection, because he's the kind of person that will, in his head, will be like, well, if you see me with such and such and such, you'll assume I'm good. This one is not, he's not even a chameleon. He's actually the one that preys on the chameleon. This is the person that will disguise, okay, as a sheep, but is the monster that you never thought he is. That is who that person is. I remember very briefly on one of those, if you remember those P.Diddy parties, then, it was a big, if you remember, it was a big deal and a lot of people wanted to go. And I remember on one of those occasions, I saw it wasn't, I think it was maybe 10, 15 seconds. And in one of those parties, they had diamonds. So I can't remember what he did. And I think this was also the period where his drink, Ciroc, came out. And he had, and in the party, there were bodyguards everywhere. And then it was said that there were diamonds, that were used in the party. And I recall very briefly in that scene where he was speaking to the bodyguards about ensuring that every single diamond was found and brought together. The look on his face, The look on his face was scary. I will never forget. He was wearing this, the lights were bluish with all, the dazzling. And then he had, I think he was wearing a black or maybe dark blue suit. The look on his face was cold. And I looked up and I said, this person, nah, he's a lot of things that we don't know. And so, to end this live, for me, the most important thing is that he, P. Diddy, must be charged to court for crimes. There is a need to look back at the Tupac case. There is a need to look out at King Porter's demise. There is a need to open up all the cases. Everyone. There is a need for that. There is a need for all of these things to be brought. Because the silence is loud. The silence is very loud, whether as a means of boycotting him or not to be seen to associate with him publicly, but privately, they are still, but the silence is bagang. And so for me, and I'm sure for a lot of us out there is a need to get this dude in cuffs ASAP. And the only do I'm saying, now 50 years old man. I don't buy all those things. I don't. 50-year-old, I don't care. How old was R. Kelly when he was convicted? Everybody. You cannot, because if this thing happens, you are making us understand that, okay, justice cannot be served. That's what you're telling us. So something has to give, like yesterday. Ha. No, something has to go. Something has to give. So that the ones coming after him and the ones who have been with him will know that one day, every day is for the thief, one day is for the owner. My prayer and my wish is that you will not go scot-free. That the tears and the cries of every victim that you have done something to will continue to haunt you. You will not rest. You will use your mouth and out yourself. There is no need to go to. You will use your own mouth and out yourself. And where you refuse, evidence will be found. Every evidence will be brought against you because you deserve to be in jail. You deserve to suffer. You deserve to go to jail for the crimes you committed. You keep on boring children up and down. I'm not against you having them. But you cannot keep on thinking that that you can do what you're doing and get away with it. No. And that's for this reason, I didn't want to bring Cassie up in this live a lot because I just wanted to preserve her healing, her new life, her beautiful, family. But why I'm bringing it up is that I recall, and this was something I said, the day she walked, I will never forget. I said, she's a smart girl. And why did I say she's a smart girl? For 10 crazy years, she was with this dude. For whatever reason, she did not have kids for him. Her statement talked about having, abortions. She's better off for it. Because being linked to this person, you wouldn't want to have, honey. And so for just that reason and that reason alone, she is a smart cookie. And I am so happy for her. I thank God for the man she's married to called Alex Fine. I bless the day she met that man. And I will continue to root for them and that relationship and that marriage, because he understands, now man you be, Alex Fine, now man you be, because you understand wholly and completely, and you are helping. And so I thank you. I'm rooting for both of you. God knows I am. And I know that she's happy. Because for someone to come out of this and still find someone like Alex Fine and get married to, and when I say that, I'm not saying it in a derogatory manner. I'm saying it in the sense that he is the one for her. He is the one who has been her rock, the everything. And I pray for total healing for you, Cassie. Total healing, because you deserve all the happiness. You deserve every love. You deserve every child, every baby. God sees you. You deserve it. You deserve for this ugly part of your life to be erased totally. I know it will not be soon, but it's going to happen for you. God bless both of you. And on this note, guys, this is where I'm going to drop off. I'm going to see you guys in another video. Stay tuned for that. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye.